Each day from my office, I get to see how homeopathy is transforming lives all over the globe, and I want to share them with you. Some of my students have really caught my eye. Some of you have done all you can to learn how to cure those around you using homeopathic medicines, and your successes inspire me. They're glorious and powerful, and I can't keep these successes a secret any longer. So, with help from my roving reporters, we bring you a mini podcast series that I call Moms with Moxie, and sometimes we even interview dads with audacity. See how regular mothers and others, average people who want to cure those around them, have gone from freaking to fabulous with homeopathy.
You're listening to podcast number 46 here at practicalhomeopathy.com. I'm Kate, and on today's podcast, we have a sweet young mom who joins us to share her experiences with homeopathy. Suzanne will tell us how she's helped her whole family with some pretty scary and serious incidents. I think you'll want to listen to her story and share this podcast with others you know that might be interested in homeopathy and how to get started. And I'm also going to share with you information about the new Gateway to Homeopathy study guide. But first, I want to welcome Suzanne to the podcast. Suzanne, it's great to be with you here today. I'm excited to get to know you. Welcome.
Oh, thank you, Kate. I'm very excited to be here.
So you are from Indiana, right?
Yeah, we're from Fort Wayne, Indiana. I'm married to Danny, and we've been married 10 years now. And we have 3 kids. Ian is 7, and Jace is 5, and Elise is 1. We have our dog Max, too.
Another family member.
Yes. He's 3, and he is our teenager in our house.
Oh.
That's pretty much.
That's funny. Tell me a little bit about your background.
We have always kind of been conscientious about our health and things like that. Sometimes we slip up, but we wouldn't consider ourselves crunchy in any sense. But yet we like to have more of a healthy approach to things. So my sister has been looking into homeopathy it's been about a year now, and she approached me with it. And I thought, here's another one thing that maybe we could contribute to our family and try to help support us in our health. And she started a study group, Joette's Gateway to Homeopathy. And she invited me and a few of my friends. It was a group of 6 of us. And we sat around and went through the book, and we all decided that this is something that we were very interested in. I'm really new to this, so just been kind of experiencing things through what my family ends up doing and
what ends up happening to you guys, right?
Yes. Well, with 2 boys, it's been kind of crazy.
I can imagine. Okay, so you went through the Gateway to Homeopathy curriculum, and
Correct.
What did you think of that?
It was very informative. At first, all we wanted to know was we want to know what to do. And it was very refreshing to be at the end of the lessons to get some of that from Joette and understand that we're in a process. It's not something that we just figure out the protocol and we do this. There's so much more to it. We have to understand the whole aspect of what homeopathy is. So through a little bit of frustration at first, we finally, at the end, we were like, okay, we get this. Now we want to do the next study group and we want to move on. My sister's actually moved on to Good Gut, Bad Gut.
Okay.
And she's been really excited about that.
I think that's super common when people first start out with homeopathy and they take the gateway or however they're learning about it. They want to get to what are the protocols? What do I take for XYZ? And I think many people don't understand that there is more to know than just what's a protocol for a cough. You know, it's good to have that depth of understanding, to know a little bit about the history and some information about how the remedies are made. And so I think that Gateway curriculum is really great to give a good foundation so that someone then can branch off and study more in depth.
Yeah, that's been really helpful to understand that, to just kind of delve in to just the thought process behind homeopathy. It's a total mind switch.
Yeah, it is so different from anything else.
After we had gotten done with the whole gateway to homeopathy, our minds, they were so full of information that we are all starting to go back through that study and relearning a lot more, because now we have that foundation to understand the way homeopathy works. And it's been great. Going back through the study on my own is very enriching, even more so.
So what recommendations would you have for someone who's just beginning their adventure in homeopathy, just starting out, maybe taking a gateway group for the first time? What would you have to say to them?
I would say at first, have patience in it. Have a little bit of faith in it too. I think a lot of times in our society, we just want that one medicine to just get it and just be done, put the Band-Aid over it. I don't want to deal with it anymore until it comes up again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a different mindset. Instead of reaching for an aspirin or the ibuprofen or something like that, what are you going to reach for? And do you have everything in your grasp that you need with homeopathy? That's the one thing that I've learned this last weekend, is to have the first aid homeopathy ready, set, and go, especially if you have kids. That's a little bit of advice. Joette knows exactly what she's talking about, and that's what gave me the faith at first, having her as the professional, knowing what to do, and then utilizing some of the homeopathy remedies and protocols just as a simple step. We all learn when we need to and with situations, and just to be patient in that.
Yeah, that's really great advice. Thank you for sharing. I think it's helpful for those who are just starting out and, like you said, just want to get going and want all the information. So yeah, being patient, and it's so important to have those remedies, isn't it?
It is. I wanted to share what happened this weekend. My husband was home and he decided he wanted to fix the cheese slicer. It's just one of those little cheese slicers that has a little wire that fell off. And so he has a screwdriver like this, and he had the cheeser on this side, and he puts a Phillips screwdriver through his hand, on the inside of his hand. So it was a very deep puncture wound. I came running downstairs, found him just kind of holding it. It was bleeding enough that I knew that it was getting cleaned out a little bit.
Right.
And he proceeded to faint on me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it was just one of those things that I'd never seen him faint. I had no idea that he even would do that on me. So I got him down on the ground and he had hit his head. So I immediately grabbed for the Ledum. I only had a 30C, and then I had the Arnica 200C that I started giving him right away for the pain. I was in shock. There's probably more things I could have given him, but I didn't have them on hand. So instead of just not giving them to him, I decided to give what I had. I went ahead and treated the wound just by cleaning it out. He came to, and we continued to give him Ledum. It was about every 10 minutes I would give him a Ledum, and it took a good 1 hour to 2 hours, I would say, before the pain really subsided. And then after that, it was about every hour that I was giving him a Ledum and an Arnica, actually. After a day, he didn't need anything. He didn't take any ibuprofen. There was no swelling. There was no bruising, which I could not believe. This was my first attempt at the first aid. And any other time, we probably would have gone over to the urgent care or something like that just to make sure. But we were pretty sure and had the faith in what we had learned with homeopathy that that was going to work. And it did. He's back to work. It's not sore. I was just amazed.
Nice. That's great. I love it. So did you guys have any Aconite on hand?
We did not have Aconite on hand. The next day I went right out and bought some. I needed to have that. As I was flipping through the gateway to homeopathy, and I believe on her website, I'm not sure, she has the free first aid paper that I ran to right away to grab and went through all the protocol that she had suggested. And so the next day I was like, okay, that's it. I'm doing this. And I think for some people it does take them to see it in action. and to work for the first time, to have the faith in it. But it was amazing. So about 4 days later, my son goes out, 7 years old. He was putting something in the dumpster. There was a piece of wood that fell on his second toe, and it broke his toenail open.
Oh my.
Yeah, so we had the Ledum, we had the Aconite, and we had the Arnica. We went ahead and started with that, and he had no pain by the end of the night. And it is totally gone, no bruising, everything is healed up. It's been wonderful.
So how does your husband feel about homeopathy? Did that incident that he experienced this weekend, did that help bring his confidence level of using homeopathy up, or was he already supportive?
He was very supportive anyway, but after something like that happens to yourself, you think, I think I might need to go to the doctor, especially after he fainted. And we just talked about it. We asked a couple of nurses, and I just explained to them what I was doing, and they actually had a little bit of knowledge of the Ledum, and that was enough for him as a confirmation to keep going and see what happened. It was really great. He is now very supportive, and he wants us to get some kits. He wants us to get some cell salts. We've seen a lot of really great things come out of the homeopathy. And this is Jace. He's my middle son. He's 5. He was born with bladder exstrophy, or they also call it OEIS. It's a 1 in 400,000. We didn't know he was going to have this until a C-section. And the doctor held him up and said, oh, I've never seen this before. It's been a blessing, though. We've met so many people through this, and we have just started him on the Cantharis for bladder.
Cantharis?
Yes, 30C. And he has done phenomenal. He is very susceptible to bladder infections. His bladder was on the outside of his body when he was born. We had to have a lot of surgeries to have that fixed. It has been amazing. We're really excited about that because ever since he was born, he's been on Septra. It's an antibiotic. So we really wanted to get him off that, and this has given us a chance to do that.
Wow, that's amazing. So do you give it to him regularly, or is it just when he presents with an infection?
It's every day that I've been giving it to him. This has been about 3 weeks that I've been giving this to him every day. I would love to get some input from Joette at some point to see what she would recommend. The doctors have said if he gets a really bad bladder infection that goes into his kidneys, it could be life-threatening. So that's kind of where I'm at with doing it on a daily basis. There's probably a better suggestion. That's kind of what I've known so far, though.
So far, he's been doing well. No infections?
No infections. He's been doing very well. And my kids don't mind taking the little pills.
I know.
My daughter actually, every morning, she'll ask for medicine. And it's asking for the homeopathy. And I'm like, honey, you don't need it today.
Yeah, isn't that wonderful when we don't have to figure out how to try to get the medicine down?
Yes, it's wonderful. Yep.
Okay, Suzanne, so you have a 1-year-old daughter named Elise, and you have an interesting story about some homeopathy with her and what seems to be effective with Elise. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yes, she is my little Pulsatilla girl. She is clingy. She wants mommy. She wants up. She just wants to be with me, and a little bit weepy. I just know that Pulsatilla helps with that from the study that I did. And that's what I've been giving her every once in a while. When she gets in a mood like that, the clinginess and the crying, I just give her a 30C and she calms right down. The Chamomilla 30C also really helps at night, right before she gets ready to go to bed. If she's really anxious or wants to stay up and play and it's bedtime, I just give her one of those. It just relaxes her. And I love knowing that it's natural. I love that part of it, that it can't hurt her.
So I bet you're pretty excited about the successes you've had with homeopathy and probably been sharing with your family members or friends. Tell us a little bit about how receptive they've been to homeopathy.
They have been receptive. They are also health conscious too, but they also have their own things that they like to do and things that they like to use. But they have been really receptive to listening to what has happened, My dad has started to use homeopathy when he starts with a cold or something like that. He's older, so he likes to stay on top of things, and we've been able to, my sister and I both, work on him and just let him know what there is out there in homeopathy to be able to help him. And my sister, she's like, here, take these, Dad. And so he's learning right along with us, which is great. One of my friends, who is actually my niece-in-law, went to the study group with me, and it's nice to have some people that have taken the study group with you to understand and be able to talk with. She wasn't sure the homeopathy was really for her, but through my circumstances that have happened and me sharing with her, she's started to use them more. I have another friend, Katie, that did the study group. She and I talk all the time just about what we're utilizing, what's working. I love being able to talk with others about what they're doing. Right now, the one thing that I love seeing on a daily basis, I have Joette's podcasts that come up on my Facebook feed, and Facebook has that new that you can save all the articles that pop up. And so I've been saving all the articles that pop up so that I can read them when I have time. Those podcasts are amazing that she does. It's all written out. And then she has the little cards at the end that I can save for some of the protocols that I've been really wanting to know.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about saving those articles with Facebook, because I'm not that familiar with it, and I think it would be useful for a lot of the people who are listening to this podcast.
Yeah, it is wonderful. Even when you're just in your newsfeed, up on the top right-hand corner, there are 3 little dots you can click on. And I believe it's the first little thing. It says Save Post. And you can save that post and just go back to it whenever you have a chance. I try to have a little bit of a routine that I do. I'll save the post. I'll go into the post right away, save the protocols that are at the end, and then I will go through later and read the whole article. Otherwise, I get so many posts that I've saved that I don't have time to go back through every single thing. I love reading what she writes. She just wrote one that I was almost in tears because it's just exactly where I'm at being a young mom, into some of the other healthy things that are out there. There was one podcast, Joette was talking about how she got into homeopathy, her being a mom of young kids, and how there are many things out there that help. There's a lot of things that help, but homeopathy cures, and that's what I'm starting to learn. It's not a Band-Aid. It's not something that you just give that's going to just cover it up. It cures. And I am so excited to delve into this further. I can't wait to be able to do some more classes.
Yes.
My sister is probably going to do the next study group because I'm like, please, we need to do the next study group. We need to do this. So I'm beyond myself knowing that there is actually something out there that will cure this.
And that you can give, and like you said before, it's safe. Your kids, they don't mind taking it. It's not a struggle. It's so simple, isn't it?
Yes, it's very simple. And also, for us being a young family, we don't have a lot of money to do a lot of things. Homeopathy is not expensive. I have been so amazed at that. That's why we really started trying it, because it was the one thing that we could really get into and not put a ton of money into right away. That's been wonderful. I feel like I have the resources to be able to give to my kids what I know that they need right now. And then I can also save up a little bit of money and get the first aid things that I need and get some cell salts that I need. So yeah, it's been amazing.
Yeah, it's a win all around, isn't it?
All around. Yep.
Yeah, I know. You can't contain yourself almost when you have these successes and then you start sharing them, and It never ends. It's all the time. You know, it's going to continue and spiral, and super exciting.
I have one more thing. My husband, all of his life really has had something that happens to him whenever he eats sugar. We've kind of looked into it a little bit more. Doctors have not really been able to put a finger on it. It's not diabetes. It's nothing like that. The carbs, the sugar, anything like that makes him have really foggy mind, and he can't think well. So we really stay away from any carbs. But when I started looking into homeopathy, the Arsenicum 30, if he eats something that might have some carbs in it, like if we go out on a date or something and he wants to be able to continue the conversation with me, I carry that in my purse, and he takes one pill, and in another 10 minutes he takes another pill, and he's good.
Wow.
I'm amazed. I mean, we can go out on a date now and he can kind of eat a little bit of what he really wants, and we can have him take that Arsenicum, and he feels so much better. His mind isn't foggy. We still try to stay away from that type of thing, but the Arsenicum in for the save.
That's awesome. Very, very cool. So I've had that same experience with Arsenicum album with some students that were in a study group. Someone reacted to something in one of the study groups, and they took an Arsenicum album. I can't remember if it was a 30C or 200C, and I think it was a smell that affected them.
Okay.
Someone had used a strong essential oil, and they took a dose, and it worked within, I don't know whether was it 10 minutes, 15 minutes, something like that. And they said normally it would put them out for a day at least. They would be just out, down and out, trying to recover from that exposure. Yeah, it's amazing.
That's wonderful. Like I said, we try to stay away from things that we think are going to happen, but there's always something that's going to come up. And to have that arsenal of homeopathy in my purse, I love that.
Right. And then now you know that eventually you'll learn things that you can use homeopathically that will help to uproot that condition. And then you'll be able to hopefully be over that and not have to utilize that, That's exciting. Yes. Is there any other stories that you have or things that you wanted to share with us?
We've run the gamut through my whole family. I'm really trying to get started in some cell salts. I know that they are very supportive, and I do want to start uprooting some of the things that are happening, with our health.
So in the Gateway 2 curriculum, we actually have one chapter devoted to all the cell salts, and we go through each of the cell salts and we talk about how they can help. We're going to talk about colds and flus and just a little bit more in depth about how you can look at those viruses that come around seasonally and seasonal allergies as well. We're going to be talking about the repertory in Materia medica, a little bit about the proof of homeopathy so that people have the information that they need to talk in an educated fashion, about the support of homeopathy and the scientific evidence for homeopathy. And then one of the chapters is about emergencies, just like what you were talking about. We're going to fill out a chart about what things might be useful for our family as we work our way through that chapter. We're going to go through some different scenarios and then talk about what to do for further study. So it's pretty exciting. I can't wait for it to come out.
That's great. I can't either.
Sounds like right up your alley, and maybe you guys want to continue on and go right into the Gateway 2 curriculum after that comes out.
Yes. Yeah, we would love to do that. And I cannot wait to get my hand on one of those Materia medicas. My sister just got hers in the other week, and I was like, I need to get one so bad.
Yes. I just got one, and I love it. It's easy to use.
That's great. That's what I had seen with hers. I just can't wait to get my hands on one.
Suzanne, thank you so much for taking the time to share with us, because I know there's a lot of moms out there with young children that run into the same situations that you do, or maybe there's a mom, that has the son who had those bladder issues and that you can help. So that's great. And I look forward to hearing more in the future about what happens with that and success stories. So let's talk again sometime. Anything you want to leave us with?
Just get out there and get your homeopathy kits. Have your first aid ready, especially if you have kids, and just get out and discover it.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Bye.
You just listened to a podcast from practicalhomeopathy.com, where nationally certified homeopath, public speaker, and author Joette Calabrese shares her passion for helping families stay strong through homeopathy and nutrient-dense nutrition. Joette's podcasts are available on iTunes, Google Play, Blueberry, Stitcher, and TuneIn Radio. Thank you for listening to this podcast with Joette Calabrese. To learn more and find out if homeopathy is a good fit for your health strategy, visit practicalhomeopathy.com.